Hello, I'm Charles Kovess, Australasia's passion provocateur. Welcome to this week's episode of The Charles Kovess Show. In this week's episode, I explore the crucial skill of confidence, both in yourself and confidence in the future. In tough times, and we are in tough times, loss of self-confidence disempowers you and kills your hope for the future. That loss of hope leads to hopelessness. That is one of the worst spaces to be in. It's a lousy way to live. I share with you in today's show 7 skills to help you preserve and build self-confidence in you and those around you. If you have high self-confidence, your confidence in the future, regardless of how tough it is, will be high. Stick around. This show is built on the formula SA plus P equals S. Self-awareness plus passion equals success. Your self-awareness with your passion will give you success. Since 1993, when I left my successful legal career to become Australasia's passion provocateur, I have inspired, educated and provoked individuals and groups, large groups, small groups, big companies, small companies, to discover and pursue passion, to create a work environment that allows the unleashing of passion, to create a personal environment that doesn't suppress passion, to develop leaders who understand the incredible power that passion has and its link to business and personal success. My first 2 books, Passionate People Produce and Passionate Performance, are both available, and they explore these ideas in detail. 28 years, these ideas work. This show is also guided by Socrates' famous quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So self-awareness is a crucial link to your success. So examine your life, examine your thoughts, examine your relationships, examine your beliefs. You can see I'm wearing my red jacket. Red is the color of passion. I wear it so that when you see red, you think of me, and when you see red around you, you think of yourself and you go, gosh, am I pursuing my passion? Am I living my life with passion? Each week I explore one big idea. Not many, because too many ideas, we don't do anything with them. One idea a week. And now we're up to episode 71. Who knew? 71. There's been 71 big ideas I've shared. Go back and look at earlier episodes. Scroll through the programs on YouTube, on podcast, and remind yourself of the ideas, because we need that reminder. We need the weekly reinforcer. And then each week I share with you a series of tools to implement that one big idea. Some song lyrics, a book, a quote, a joke, a spiritual tip, a health tip. And these are strategies and tips that I have used with many of my coaching clients. And getting that one insight when I'm coaching people makes a massive difference to their lives. Tiny changes can make massive differences. The question is, which tiny change? This show is not politically correct. I have no desire to be politically correct. And I'm a supporter of certain addictions, like an addiction for sex, but also an addiction for coffee. I can feel that caffeine. I love it. Thank you to all the coffee makers on the planet. This show also subscribes to the view that we have a spiritual life, a spiritual element. The human spirit is a wonderful, wonderful resource that you have available to you, and so do those around you. So, Review of the week. What's happened this week? Well, here we are in Victoria. Lockdown number 6, announced with 3 hours of notice. I say these politicians are fools, are idiots, are incompetent, are acting unconstitutionally, illegally right around the world, but particularly here in Australia. They will be held to account. I tell you, dear viewer, dear listener, I will be holding them to account. I am spending an enormous amount of time to hold these incompetents to account. These lockdowns are discredited globally. It is a nonsense. And the national cabinet that our Prime Minister has set up is a nonsense. There is no legal basis for it. It has no legal powers. And then when the cabinet comes and makes a decision and the Prime Minister announces it, the premiers of the states just ignore it anyway. They're like the governors in the United States. They just ignore it, do their own thing. Lockdowns are bullshit. I'll put it here loud and clear. And in this environment, I'm surrounded by people in Victoria. I say that about 60% of people are loving these lockdowns. Public servants suffering not at all. Politicians suffering not at all. The building industry, the infrastructure industry, booming. All the major retailers, the people in essential services, they are booming. So no wonder the premiers keep carrying on with this lockdown nonsense, because less than 50%, probably 40% of the population are suffering. The other 60% are having a great time. Particularly public servants, who comprise close to 33% of our workforce. It's remarkable. So the media, the mainstream media, there's a game going on here around these lockdowns to terrify you, dear listener, dear viewer. Do not be terrified. Fear is a shitty way to make your decisions. This coronavirus is nothing to fear. I will give you a guarantee that it's nothing to fear. 0.16% death rate of those who contract coronavirus globally. It is madness. In Victoria, this state, on average through last year, 440 people died every day from all sorts of illness. I know, but the only one we've got to worry about now is this pandemic. It's, I say it again, bullshit. Don't be sucked in by the fearmongers. And those of you in the 60% who are having a good time, you are destroying the futures of your children and your grandchildren. And I'm going to make it my business to bring it to the attention of people in the future that you people who are having a good time did nothing about it. You thought to yourself, I'm having a good time. I'm not going to push back against this. I'm able to work from home. Don't worry about my kids. Don't worry about my grandkids. The incredible debt that is being built up. And you have to wonder, what's the game plan behind the repayment of all this debt? Nobody knows. So I will hold you to account. All of you who are enjoying this lockdown, I will hold you account. That's my promise to you. You might get that I'm angry about this. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about freedom. Taking away freedom for the ideas around this pandemic of how dangerous it is such a ridiculous notion. It's beyond, and I have doctors who try to argue with me that, oh yes, we're going to protect the public. Nonsense. We're killing the public. We are killing the spirit. And that's why confidence, this week's topic, is so important, because I'll show you how to keep your confidence up. I will show you how to fight back against this nonsense. I will show you how to never, ever give up. Do not shut up. Do not go along with people and let them say we're all in this together. It's a nonsense. The circle around you, take the risk of losing your friends. Do not collude. And politicians, I call on you not to collude with these lockdown decisions. That's gutless. And if you want to see courage fortitude, commitment in action. The Olympics was all about that. And of course, the governments love it because people are distracted by watching the Olympics. Although I was pleased to see that with all the wokeness demonstrated by many Olympic athletes from the US, that the viewing audience of the Olympics in the US is significantly down. Good. I reject wokeness. I reject cancel culture. I reject the idea of Black Lives Matter. I reject the rewriting of history. The efforts of athletes, nevertheless, in tough circumstances, of being at the Olympics is so commendable. And Julie has pointed out to me that they seem to be crying more in their interviews these days, and I think that's because of the additional pressures of lockdowns and how hard it has been to be a successful athlete. I also point out that all of Australia's athletes had the double jab, the gene manipulating jab. It's not a V word, the gene manipulating jab. And they've been tested ad nauseam in Tokyo, and then they come back to Australia and they need 14 days of quarantine. Can you understand the stupidity of that? Why would you take one of these jabs if you still have to go into quarantine? Think about that, dear viewers, dear listeners. During the week, Julie and I ran an all-day in-person seminar for a group of specialist dentists. It was a great success. It was wonderful to be in the space, and it was the day before the snap lockdown, which, by the way, destroyed vast numbers of restaurant food orders and plans. Imagine locking down on 3 hours' notice. It's just nonsensical, but we were lucky that we got that seminar in. It was very successful. Hemp, industrial hemp, there's some interesting things happening there. And the reason why hemp is one of my business interests is because hemp can be a global savior, creating local economies in local communities, because these stupid politicians are going to destroy our global economy. Hemp is going to be an amazing lifesaver. If you want to know more about hemp, send me an email. I can send you a full information pack that will lighten the burden in your worry about the future when you realize what's possible with hemp. And lastly, I have not stopped exercising. So none of this lockdown nonsense is going to stop me exercising, riding my bike wherever I want to ride it. This 5 kilometre limit bullshit is such a mad idea. I reject it. I will not observe it. You have to decide what ridiculous laws you're going to observe or not observe. And I say again, unconstitutionally, these laws are not valid because they are made under a fraudulent state of emergency which does not exist. Now, before I get to today's big idea, I remind you to visit our websites, covest.com for corporate programs, public programs, and charlescovest.com for details of the self-awareness and passion quest. Come to the next webinar that I run on the self-awareness and passion quest. It's free. You can get my books at those websites, subscribe to Passion Points to Ponder, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast or to this YouTube by clicking on the bell below, as you all know these days on YouTube. I remember when I didn't know how to subscribe to a YouTube channel. So it's amazing what we learn, isn't it, when we have all these lockdown periods? So the big idea. How do I build confidence in me and those around me? Confidence is such a crucial skill. We are living in tough times. We are living in extraordinary times. How can you be confident about the future when you just listen to me rant about debt levels? Well, I say you can. And you do it by having high self-confidence in yourself. When you have high self-confidence, you will have a go. You will not give up. You will have hope for the future. It's too easy to lose our self-confidence. It's too easy to have a hit from the left, a hit from the right, a hit from the back, and suddenly we go, gosh, maybe I can't do it. I'm told by experts that confidence and self-confidence are very popular search terms on the internet. People are looking for, how do I preserve it? Where do I get it? With everything turning to crap around me, how do I have confidence in the future and in myself? If you have a child who's lost their self-confidence, it can be so heartbreaking when they're having a tough time at school. When they feel like giving up, what are you going to do? You need to understand these crucial principles. And when you do this with yourself, you can then do it with others around you. This is not some esoteric idea, because I say to you that your self-confidence needs to be protected. No matter how self-confident you are now, it's like food. You've eaten food yesterday, good, that's given you nourishment. But if you don't eat food today, or if you don't eat food for the next 2 weeks, you'll be in trouble. And particularly if you don't have coffee, I'll be in trouble. So I urge you to develop this skill of protecting your self-confidence and knowing how to keep building it. And then, because you're doing it for yourself, it will help you to teach your children, to teach your grandchildren, to teach your work colleagues, to tell them what to do. So what are these 7 strategies? Write them down. Number 1, accept how little each one of us knows about everything there is to know. When you accept that idea that the smartest person on the planet knows a tiny amount of everything there is to know, and that you know a tiny amount, I know a tiny amount, Julie knows a tiny amount, then what happens is you don't have this false expectation that you should know it all. Let that go. And in simple terms say, in most matters, I'm an idiot. In some matters, I know stuff. That's why teams are so good, because people know little bits about all different stuff. And so you've got teams around you, and that's what cooperative learning is about. Young people are better at that through their fast learning of software programs, for example, through their colleagues. Accept how little you know, because that's the case with everybody. With even the smartest person on the planet will only know a tiny amount of what there is to know. Number 2, write out in handwriting, if you can. If you can't write at all, well then type it, a list of all of the skills you have developed over your life. I have done this exercise for me. It's remarkable, the skills that we have developed. And start to meditate about those skills. So clearly, start learning to eat is one of them. Learning to walk is another one when you're a baby. And from there, it's a remarkably long set of skills that you have. Give yourself a pat on the back and go, wow, look at all those skills I'm able to learn in the past, and therefore any skill I need in the future, I can keep learning. Number 3, get some external validation of how good you are. I remember attending a number of personal development programs where people would write down their views about me and give me the paper. I've still kept those sheets of paper. I keep testimonials that people have sent to me over the years of the impact I've had on their lives. So when I go into a down space, all I have to do is think of those testimonials that I've had from people to go, wow, that's pretty amazing. So external validation is just other people's views about you. Now, if you haven't got any of that, ask them. Ask your friends, what do you actually think about me? What do you think I'm good at? You'll be surprised. You'll be amazed. And as each one tells you, hopefully, your friends in a caring, heartful way, because it's true, it will resonate deeply with you. It will unlock resources of self-confidence that are in there waiting on that external validation. Number 4, avoid negative people, negative environments, and negative stimuli. And the particular negative stimuli you should avoid is the mainstream news generally. Get your sources of information from useful places. The mainstream media is hopelessly biased and censored and in many cases corrupted. Don't immerse yourself in idiot politicians on the news saying, we're going to fight this pandemic, it's going to kill you, it's just a day. Don't go there. And don't mix with people who are so full of negativity. That's their own journey. They have to come and do some coaching with me. Send those negative people to me. I'll help them become less negative, but don't spend your time with them, even if they're family. This pandemic, one of the gifts of this pandemic is that you find out which of your circle of connections are so narrow-minded that they want to live their lives through adopting the fear messages of politicians. Surrounding yourself with people driven by fear is a bad strategy. Strategy 5, identify your beliefs. Find out which beliefs you have about yourself that don't empower you and work on changing them. I have had earlier episodes where I've talked about change of beliefs. In my coaching programs, I work a lot on beliefs. And trust me when I say that most people are really not clear about what their beliefs about themselves are. Identify the beliefs you have about yourself that drag your self-confidence down. And do that with your children as well. Try to get inside their head to say, what do you believe? And they'll say, I believe I'm hopeless. I believe I can't do it. And it's those beliefs that are very, very powerful. As Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. Number 6, accept that mistakes are a necessary part of your improvement, of your journey, of your skill development. You cannot get better. You cannot develop any skill without making mistakes. And so what happens often with people who make mistakes is they beat themselves up, and beating yourself up kills your self-confidence. No, mistakes are wonderful, wonderful learning experiences. And the 7th strategy, read and learn from great masters. Each book that I share with you on this journey that we're doing together through this show, I give you powerful resources. If you want to build self-confidence, immerse yourself in these books. If you don't like reading, then go onto YouTube, go onto BitChute, go onto Rumble. There are all sorts of fantastic, wonderful presenters who will help you, remind you of the amazing power inside you. Do not let your development of your thinking, your mind, of your spirit to be a matter of sheer luck on what you watch on TV. Have a planned program to develop your mind. Sit with your children, sit with your team members to watch powerful messages. And I hope you share these episodes of this show with them if you want them to build self-confidence, because I say every one of the 71 shows that I've shared with you will build self-confidence. These are 7 strategies. There are more, and they work. Self-confidence is a wonderful, wonderful resource. It's a crucial skill. It's a crucial resource. Work on it. Don't let others take away your confidence that you had when you were just 2 years old. That's why the Bible says the kingdom of God belongs to little children. You have this confidence around the future, this confidence around, I can do anything. It's a great John Farnham song, isn't it? So what do you see? That's not the song of the week. Just an ordinary man. Just an ordinary man. I can do anything. Reminds me, a bit of humour. In terms of confidence, I know a person who has so much self-confidence that she walks around wearing a t-shirt that doesn't say anything. My song for the week is from Sound of Music. Can you guess what it is? The wonderful Sound of Music. So let them bring on all their problems. I'll do better than my best. I have confidence they'll put me to the test, but I'll make them see I have confidence in me. Go and listen to that song. It's a powerful, powerful song about how it starts with the worries, the fears, and say, I have confidence in me. I'll go out and do it. And it's a song like that that you can sing at the top of your voice. Rebuild this confidence, change your physiology as you're singing this song. And you can see Julie Andrews in the thing. She pulls her shoulders back and bang, on she goes. My quote for you is from Helen Keller. Powerful quote. Helen Keller was blind and mute and deaf. I'm sure you've heard about her. She wrote this. Imagine that, writing when you're blind and mute and deaf. Security is mostly a superstition. Like this whole pandemic nonsense is all about, keep me safe, politicians. What a crazy idea that is. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. So embrace your life on that basis. This is a daring adventure. You don't have to get it right. And when you let go of this idea that you have to get it right, then your self-confidence comes back and says, hey, this is all about playing the game. My health tip for you is around the complexity of your body, to raise your awareness around the complexity of your body, of the 100 trillion cells that make up your body, and the fact that the whole of the medical profession on our planet, the whole of it, understands less than 10% of the functioning of your body. Do you know that? You talk to any doctor, hey, to what extent do we understand how the body works? And that's why the nonsensical assertions, the certainty of the assertions of the chief health officers right around the world is such nonsense, because the profession doesn't understand anywhere near 10% of what's going on. So your body is a unique mix, and if you're putting jabs into your body, you think about what that might do. Who knows that those 100 trillion cells are unique. You are unique. So all the health tips that I give you are designed to make you look at your health. And again, self-confidence is a function of health. Because if you're feeling healthy and strong and vibrant and energetic, it's much easier to have self-confidence. My spiritual tip is to understand the spiritual resources that are available to you in the healing professions. And one of them are Reiki masters. R-E-I-K-I, Reiki. If you've never heard of Reiki, look it up. There are some wonderful Reiki masters that can unblock significant energetic and spiritual blockages in your psyche that will then, if you have a feeling that this might be helpful, go and visit them. They're not expensive. They are non-intrusive, and I know many people who get wonderful benefits from visiting Reiki masters, and indeed my father, before he died, was a Reiki master. So how about that? My real joke for the week on confidence is about the little fly. There once was a happy little fly buzzing around a barn when she happened upon a large pile of fresh horse manure. Since she was so hungry, she flew down to the irresistible delicacy and began to munch, and ate and ate and ate some more. Finally, she decided she'd had plenty. She washed her face with the tiny front legs, belched a few times, then attempted to fly away. But alas, she'd picked out far too much and could not get off the ground. She looked around wondering what to do about this unpleasant situation when she spotted a shovel leaning up against the barn wall. She found a solution. She realised if she could just become airborne, she'd be able to fly again. So painstakingly she climbed to the top of the handle. Once there, she took a deep breath, spread her tiny wings, and leapt confidently into the air. She dropped like a rock, splattered all over the floor, dead. The moral of this sad story? Never fly off the handle when you're full of shit. My book of the week for you is a autobiography by Olivia Newton-John called Don't Stop Believin'. What she's been through, remarkable ups and health challenges. My message to you is don't stop believin'. And again, I remind you, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. And when you tie that in with don't stop believin', amazing things are possible. So that's about it for this week. Visit our website, subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to the YouTube. Please share it amongst your friends, amongst your family, amongst your work colleagues. Particularly share it with those people around you who are suffering from lack of confidence, from lack of self-confidence, from people who are despairing about the future. No, build self-confidence so we can push back against these crazy politicians. Subscribe to Passion Points to Ponder. Invest in my books. Passionate people produce passionate performance. And again, thanks for being with us for this episode. I honour the fact that you are with me, with us, that you watch or listen to this show. It is aimed to make your life better, for you to live the life in the way that you uniquely want to live it. The 100 trillion cells that make up the amazing, unique, weird you. Have a great week. Embrace the challenges of these lockdowns. Embrace the challenges of these times and live your life with passion so that you can enjoy every day when you wake up in the morning and you go, I have confidence in me. Thanks for being with us. See you next week. Bye.